Shalom. This video is about challah, that delicious Friday night bread. And if you've ever had any, just kind of take a deep breath and imagine you're smelling how delicious it is. For those who've never had it, it's a oval-shaped bread, braided, baked to a nice brown color. The ingredients traditionally are eggs, flour, water, and sugar, although you can definitely use honey or molasses for instead of sugar. It's usually white flour, but you can definitely make whole wheat challah. Sometimes people put raisins in it. You can put sesame or poppy seeds on top. During Rosh Hashanah, it's customary to have round challahs. Now, where's this from? Well, the Talmud and the Mishnah, actually, in the tractate Zraim, 9th chapter, talks about the mitzvah of lahafrish challah. That you're supposed to take a little piece of challah off and bake it, and it went to the Kohanim to help feed them. And it actually specifies that for a private person baking bread, 1/24 would go to them, and for a commercial baker was double that. Half that, 1 out of 48. In any case, then the question was, if you're outside of Israel, should you still observe it? And the rabbis ruled that you should still lahafrish challah in the diaspora. It's basically for commercial bakers in terms of the quantities, but there's plenty of private people who make challah who also do that. Now, on Shabbat, for the 3 meals, that is the night meal, the lunch meal, and the last meal on Shabbat in the afternoon, and then for the 2 meals on Yom Tov, that would be the night meal and the morning meal, and that would be for Pesach, Shavuos, Sukkot, Rosh Hashanah, morning and night, the first 2 days, the last 2 days of Pesach and Sukkot. All those times, you're supposed to have 2 loaves of bread. And the basic reason for the 2 loaves, instead of just a normal piece of bread you'd have before a meal, is that the Torah says that when the manna was coming down in the desert, that there were 2 loaves on Friday, Erev Shabbat, and then none on Shabbat, so people wouldn't have to work gathering it on Shabbat. Actually, though, if you actually check Jewish history, there was a custom in Babylonia of only, even as late as the Gaonic period, where people ate 1 loaf in Israel and 2 in Babylonia, and the Babylonian custom is the one that became law. Traditionally, the challah is braided, and you also cover it up. There's beautiful challah covers that people have. Now, why? Well, kind of interesting reason. There's a debate in rabbinic literature as to whether, when you're saying the brachot in order, you do the wine bracha first or the bread bracha first, and the winner was the wine bracha. So we say we don't want the challah to feel bad, so you kind of pretend it's not there, you cover it up, and then you do the wine blessing, and then you do the challah blessing, and you lift up the challah, oh, there's challah there. Kind of a cute thing about teaching people about compassion. It also gives the opportunity to have another beautiful ritual object, a nice challah cover, and there's challah platters people have. You can actually buy sets with a special challah knife some people use, and some people slice the challah, some people rip the challah. It's also customary to salt your bread. That's not just for challah, any bread, because that's what they used to do for the sacrifices in Jerusalem. Now the bracha for challah is the same as the bracha for any bread, Baruch Atah, and the actual correct language is Eloheinu melech haolam, and then you say Hamotzi lechem min haaretz, who brings forth Hamotzi lechem, bread, min haaretz, from the earth. Now the Mizrahi Jews, the Jews from the Arab world, really didn't have a tradition of challah. In fact, they used pita, and they'd have this whole ceremony with 12 pita breads. Now, the 12 pita breads go back to something called Showbread, lechem panim, that was in the Torah. Torah describes that you had a special table opposite the menorah where you put 12 loaves of bread, and they were left there all week, and then the priests could eat them. And there's even a case in the Bible where David gave the showbread to non-priests after the new bread was put there. Now, obviously, in antiquity, in the Babylonian literature and Assyrian literature, the food was meant to actually feed the gods, but in our literature, in the Bible, it's not meant to feed God. God doesn't get hungry. There's a great story about a baker who knew the Bible, and in the expulsion from Spain in 1492, he and his wife go to Tzfat, and they hear the rabbi about the Torah portion of the showbread talking about it, and he thought that's actually what the custom that they should do, and so he started putting challah in the ark every Friday, and the shamus, the first week that the baker did that, the shamus came and was crying about how he didn't have any food for his 10 kids and his wife, and he banged on the ark, and the ark opened, and there was the bread, 12 loaves. He took it home, and every week this went on because the baker would come to Shul Shabbat morning and see that the challah wasn't there. So he'd put the bread in the ark, Kind of a very cute story. Anyway, that's some of the details about the delicious custom of challah. You can actually buy frozen, pre-braided, preset challah. Empire makes it in some grocery stores, and then you let it rise, and then you bake it. It's almost as good as homemade challah. People also, there's plenty of recipes online. If you just go to the internet and search Challlah, you'll find recipes on how to make it. And if you live near a Jewish community, it's undoubtedly there's many grocery stores and bakeries that have challah readily available, all kinds of challah. And it's obviously the bread is the stuff of life. It's a deep custom of the Jewish people, and something that's very meaningful and a beautiful custom that enhances the holiday.